Right, welcome to the latest episode on StarTV of my podcast. And sitting in front of me right now, I have a true UK legend in grime, in UK music, DJ MAK 10. What's going on, brother?
Wow.
Bruv, like, this is an honour. Seriously, like, I watch
you.
podcasts and every time they say this is an honour, and I respect it,
Yeah.
but this really is an honour.
Thank you.
Like,
I appreciate
listen,
that.
if you're a grime fan or a real music fan, you know who MAK 10 is. I'm gonna do an introduction. I could say we could sit all day, but I actually will, because this guy here, if I'm being honest, I don't know if you get enough props.
Okay.
I'm not sure. What's your opinion on that? We're gonna go into your history. I'm gonna ask you loads of different stuff, but I'm gonna ask you straight away. Do you think you get the flowers you deserve? Honestly.
I believe I do. I believe
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, that's good. So you feel valued. Just for me, I feel like you really are part of the foundation, and I'm not. Do you know what? Maybe DJs in grime don't get enough. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Maybe the craft in general may not get the acknowledgement that it should do. Like what actually goes into putting sets together, and especially around that time when it was vinyl, and the dedication and time it took to sort of cut dubs, prepare, and all of that at that time was a lot. It was a lot different time to now, just downloading music
100%.
and things like that. Because for me personally, I would drive from sort of my area for 2 hours to a producer's house or a studio just to get a CD, then drive to the cutting house. There was no sort of downloading, and that was before eventually things progressed into sending music over MSN and
So that was before,
things like that. I sound like a dinosaur, but that's the reality.
This is the foundation.
Like it's like an email sort of thing or instant messenger. So before that sort of was about, it was driving to studios, cutting houses, and there was a lot of that groundwork, but people just tend to hear the end product on the radio or in a club. But
because for me, like in grime, it was very MC focused.
Yeah.
In terms, like obviously everyone played their part, but you think garage had MCs, but the DJ was the main feature / producer.
Yeah.
I feel like when it moved to grime,
Yeah.
and transitioned to grime, the MC kind of took over. What do you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. They definitely did. It was an MC based music, still is.
Yeah.
But I mean, some DJs got to shine. Like Slimzy got to shine on his own. I think I got my time when I got a bit of shine on my own. And there was times when some DJs got to.
I feel like you're every Grime's DJ's favourite DJ as well.
Oh, thank you.
So I think that says a lot. You know, like when you hear someone say, "Oh, your favourite rapper's favourite rapper."
Yeah.
MAK 10 is your favourite DJ's favourite DJ. If he's not your favourite DJ, sorry for the riddles, but
no,
seriously,
I get it.
I feel like because even like your Spyros, they put you up there.
Yeah.
Spyro puts you on the pedestal. You know what I mean? So from when one of the other best DJs in the game is saying it, you have to respect it.
Yeah,
you know
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
So let's talk about probably your most your biggest achievement, or when you was made in the biggest limelight you would say Nasty Crew, yeah?
100%.
I'm gonna throw a big question at you straight away. Top 3 MCs in Nasty Crew. From the best.
you won't
1,
get
2, 3.
You won't get me to answer this question.
Bruv, you won't even have to see after them again.
I'll answer it honestly. I'll answer it honestly. Every single MC had their time where they was the top one, in my opinion, in terms of had their moment. But what was so what was so good about Nasty was the coercion, like how they gelled together, the MCs, and each one had their own individual style and the way they worked together. So you would use a different MC for different scenarios. Some was more popular than others at different times.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say I can remember when the Hyper was a favourite, Sharky was a favourite, Stormin was a favourite, Monkey was a favourite. In terms of me, who I liked working with.
Your favourite?
Who I liked working with. I can't speak for everyone else, but I can say there was a time when each one of them I would prefer to work with, even on their own, or a particular set of them. So It just kept changing.
Changing. All right. So now you've had that whole, you've done the whole Nasty Crew thing.
Yeah.
All time. I don't care when it chops and change. All time top 3 MCs that were in Nasty Crew for you.
Ooh,
Or who?
I can't,
I'll make it easy for you. Who did you like doing the sets with?
This is the thing. Yeah, no, but that's the same question.
I can see you don't want to answer it.
No, because look, I can even tell you there was a time when I was going on radio with just me and Armour, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Armour, like, no disrespect to him, he didn't have as many lyrics as everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just a vibe. Monkey as well, and I'm starting from the guys who, in my opinion, some people wouldn't expect to say, because I'm assuming there's DEE, there's Kano, there's Gets, and Hyper, Sharky, Footsie, Storming, R.I.P. Storming, and like, yeah, man, each one had their time, man. Each one had their time.
So I'm not gonna get a one.
You're not gonna get an answer out of me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
All right, tell me about what was it like during that time. Was it 8 till 10 or 6 till 8? Nasty Crew.
8 till 10. Yeah.
8 till 10. What was that era like for you? Because them phone lines, they must have been popping off, but it wasn't like the internet now. So you didn't get the feedback like you would now, where it was permanently able to go and look at the feedback, like on a YouTube comment or an Instagram comment. So what was it like during that era? You know, like when you, how old was you during that time?
I believe I was started with Nasty from about 20, 21.
Yeah.
And then upwards, yeah. So the thing is, that number, I still remember it, 0961 or 0961 802 Sorry, whoever's number that is now, but that used to be my number. It was my actual phone number. I tried to put it away a few times.
Wait, what? They used your number as because
at DEJA at the time, everyone had to bring their own studio phone.
Swear,
there wasn't a set number.
Okay,
so everyone would have a different number, and we used to use my number. And a couple of weeks, like there was a few weeks, I tried to be like, no, I'm not using my phone today. And then like, but that's the number. You gotta use your phone. Like, man. And it's like I was being difficult. You get me? And I felt like I was being difficult as well, but. Yeah, man, it was my phone, so I used to go home with the phone, and the phone's still ringing. You get me, and all of that. But it was definitely a different time to. You don't get it like that anymore.
Of course.
No, you don't.
What was a standout moment for you? Like, if you got it, like when you think back to them times, like obviously you won't be able to remember every set, but you know, when you think back to those times, where does your mind usually go back to? What sets stand out for you, or moments in them? Because those tape packs travel far and wide in
the UK. The one that stands out for me is Roll Deep and Nasty. That stands out. But there's classic. But the thing is, I've got to be honest about this. Like I
think I know that set lyric for lyric.
Yeah,
genuinely. And there's like 15 fam on there and a few others. It's not just Roll Deep Nasty, is it?
Yeah, that's right. There was a few other people, but what was happening? You know, when you do something week in, week out, and it becomes repetitive, you feel like it needs a new lease of life. So I remember I hollered Wiley and I said, because Wiley and that was on Rinse, remember, and then they moved over to DEJA to come on after us, and there was a bit of competition there. A bit of healthy competition there. So I remember hollering at him and say, yo, I got this idea, let's do Nasty back to back, Roll Deep. Like, we'll start the first 2 hours with vocals and just the last 2 hours whatever.
Was they already on the station then?
They was already on the station. So basically we would have done 8 till 10, then 10 to 12. 10 to 12, all the MCs go. So me and Carnage before that, and I'd playing sort of grimy garage, that sort of thing at first. And I remember finishing that show thinking, oh, it didn't go as well as I anticipated.
What, the whole set?
The whole set, I didn't think it went well. And then it ended up being really iconic. On my part, I thought, I didn't do too great. I didn't like it. The MCs that should have showed up didn't show up. I don't know, I was in my own head about it, but it ended up being a massive set.
It's still circulating now.
Still circulating now. So that was one.
Did you listen back to that set ever?
I've listened back to a few sets. A lot of Sidewinder ones as well.
Yeah.
But there was also another set that was that stood out to me, was one Dizzy just made Ho.
Okay.
And we got Dirty Dogs at the time, was he was firing, and we had Dizzy and Dogs on as guests, and that was a fire show because the Ho just come out and they was both there. I remember that being a fire show as well.
Is that online anywhere?
It probably
Have you
is.
got these sets at home?
I listen to a lot of my stuff on YouTube like everyone
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
I
yeah.
do know a lot of people who've got tapes, like
Yeah.
shoeboxes full
Yeah,
of
yeah,
tapes.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
sent me pictures like,
They're
look at
sitting
this.
on gold mines. You know, like if they made a
Yeah.
YouTube
Yeah,
of those sets,
yeah.
and they could monetize them.
Really?
Because no one would be able to claim them because they're all productions that never came out.
Wow.
And they could monetize. They're sitting on a gold mine.
Well, there you go, people.
Yeah, if you've got those, if you're one of Max Powers and you've got those
Yeah.
tapes, put them up, man. Trust me, you might make a little bit of spare change on the side.
Okay, well, there you go.
So yeah,
Well,
man,
yeah.
like that was a real legendary part. Even now, when you think back to where the music is now, UK drill, UK rap, whatever genre, subgenre you want to pick, that's a part of the foundation.
100%.
Do you feel like it gets the recognition though? Because you hear, you know, when people say, "Oh, who's the foundation, the influencers?" So Solid get a lot of mentions. Does Nasty Crew get a lot of mentions, or enough? Do you feel, as a collective, or
I don't. That's a different question. Now,
yeah.
I don't believe they do.
Because again,
as
Nasty
a-
Crew is everyone's favorite grime crew, or
Yeah.
your favorite, your whoever you want to talk. That's usually people say Nasty Crew.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's just not spoken about enough. Maybe it's not spoken about enough, but it was definitely made a massive impact around that time that's not spoken about enough. Even the way the music was consumed and the way the tapes was passed around. I mean, So Solid got around from having big music that
Singles
was being
and
singles,
albums.
being played in clubs, and it was circulating that way. So people was hearing it. They had albums, and you know they had a good marketing strategy behind them. Whereas we was still a bit young, not much music knowledge in terms of intellectual property and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
No one was really clued up on that.
because
But-
there was a few
yeah.
Nasty Crew singles, but they came a bit later, didn't they?
Yeah, they came a bit later. But
Did they come too late? Do you think? The debut singles.
But the thing is, they came, but no, they wasn't. It was all a bit sketchy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll just put this out, and I don't know what's going on. No one knows what's going
Because
on.
what springs to mind is the Girls Love Nasty and that sort of era, them tunes. Was that too late? Do you think?
I don't.
Because
well,
obviously by that time there was new members and certain members had left.
yeah, but that was when someone had a bit more knowledge of what should have been done, had joined, and did what was meant to have been done.
Why didn't that happen? Do you think? Just inexperience.
Inexperience, politics, just politics. I keep it simple.
Yeah, because you know Dizzy got his album out.
Yeah.
Roll Deep got an album out eventually. I'm just thinking, why didn't Nasty get a Crew album out? Nasty Crew get an album out
again,
when it was at their peak?
there's politics. There's politics, and I can't answer that question because I'm not an MC and I don't know.
But you was there.
I was there.
Even if you was the fly on the wall, let's just say you was there. You was.
All right, cool. I would give the easy answer is politics in my opinion, and from my knowledge, there was some politics.
Yeah.
You know, and even prior to the politics, I feel like we could have probably done more. So I don't know. It's just timing. Whatever was meant to happen happened.
Was Nasty Crew a bit more road than Roll Deep and any of the other crews? Actually, you know, even like Morfire Crew were putting bodies of work together and stuff. You know, why? It's a big, like, for me, it's a massive thing. Why was Nasty Crew not putting out proper bodies of work?
Yeah, but I don't think road comes into it. I just, when it comes to business sense, if you know what I mean.
I'm just trying to work out the politics.
Yeah. The politics. I got.
I know you can't go into them. Like, I know. But I'm just trying to, as a fan and as you know, to report it. I'm trying to work out why we didn't get a proper body of work from Nasty Crew.
Well, you know, again, at the time, it was just singles. You had Take You Out.
Take You
Out was a massive number for them, which could have probably done more. Probably could have done more with it, but I don't know where people's heads was at. You know, I was sort of wrapped up in my own thing, if I'm honest, where that didn't faze me. I was sort of doing what I was doing outside of music, so I wasn't really concerned.
Okay,
If I
looking
was-
back now, do you wish you was more concerned?
I wish there are some things I do wish, like I did some things that, you know what, it's difficult for me to say because there's things that I don't want to offend anyone as well, and it's difficult, but like there's some things I could have done differently. Yeah, I could have done differently.
It sounds like everyone in the crew could have done differently, and maybe it would have gone a different direction.
But
It's
here's
still left a massive footprint and a positive footprint.
yeah,
But if you think back to what some of the other crews or individuals, whatever, what they done,
Yeah.
and you guys were the best,
Yeah.
technically.
but let's have it right though. Some of our members
Yeah.
that was in the members are the biggest thing in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
UK right
solo,
now, like
yeah.
Gets, Kano,
Kano, yeah,
Double.
double, yeah.
They're the ones.
This is what's
they've gone on-
crazy.
they've
Them
gone on to do very
individually,
well. Yeah,
that could easily be someone's top 3 grime MCs of all time.
Yeah.
Gets Double, Kano,
yeah,
and probably is a lot of people's.
and
And that
they-
was all once together at one point. I know Gets was in his earlier
yeah.
stages.
He was in his earlier
but
stages.
it's
Yeah.
crazy to think that was
Yeah.
in one crew at one point.
Yeah, there you go. And you know, and some not everyone can make it, and eventually a crew's going to be a thing, and people are gonna go their own ways. You know, there's a lot of people involved, egos and things like that. But I feel like, you know, there's still people. Like Stormin went on to do well in drum and bass.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming with SAS.
Yeah,
Like, and you know, Sharky's doing his Grime Originals thing.
yeah, yeah. And that
You
just
know.
shows how powerful your crew was.
Yeah,
Because even when it went like that and it split,
yeah,
they all went and done their own thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's again, that's
yeah. And big up Marcus as well, Marcus Nasty, because he started it, and you know, I kind of jumped in there.
so. Yeah, what point did you come in? Because when I hear a lot of, I listen to Sharky's podcast with Young Spray,
Yeah.
and I've heard a few stories. You've heard
Yeah.
about, you know, the Nasty
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
started, and Mac 10's name doesn't get mentioned a lot in the beginning or too much anyway. Yet everyone knows Mac 10.
I'll be honest about this because I'll speak open and honestly about this. When you say, it's because it's sprung it up for me now about, do I feel that I don't get my flowers? What frustrates me, and I'll just keep it real, is when my name don't get mentioned within it, when I know that how much weight I pulled.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of the time, let's have it right. Big up my brother. He's a don, and he's a don in funky.
Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
bad
yeah,
boy
yeah.
DJ. But at that time, I carried it.
Of course. Listen, when
Exactly.
people think of Nasty Crew and they think the DJ,
Yeah,
they don't think Marcus and they don't
but
think
a lot
Jammer.
of
They
people-
think Mac 10.
a lot of people do. A lot of people do
Do what?
believe that Marcus was the DJ for Nasty throughout that peak period. A lot of people don't know.
I don't think real grime listeners do.
I've heard people
but they
say
don't.
it.
But then
too.
there's still, when we hear it from
Yeah.
the mouths of Nasty Crew, your name
Yeah.
don't get mentioned a lot at the especially in the beginning when it's
No, because in the beginning,
because
because I didn't form it. My brother
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
formed Nasty. I've got to give it to him because Nasty would not exist, and I wouldn't have been able to even get on that platform if it weren't for him, because I was
course.
playing a completely different music.
what was you playing?
I was playing garage, but like LB, Steve Gurley, like this two-steppy garage, like
Yeah,
dark
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
garage, and it wasn't. I stayed away from anything commercial, so I wasn't. I liked Heartless Crew. I wasn't on that vibe though. So at that time, I mean, when I started DJing, I was on that vibe. I used to mix like R&B vocals with garage and all of that sort of thing, like what Fonty was doing. I was doing all of that sort of stuff. So I did sort of start off like that, but I went into a different direction where I was against anything commercial.
Okay.
Yeah. And when he started the crew, they had that same sort of Heartless vibe, hype, MCs, all the bait tunes, not necessarily bait, but jump up tunes,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
rave tunes, innit? And
Yeah. So then what point did you come into Nasty Crew then?
okay, so yeah. So obviously my brother's gone away. He's asked me to join, and then I was playing this other style of garage. And then what happened was, when I joined Nasty, I sort of had my brother's records.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had this different arsenal of tunes, and I used to try and mix them in with what I was already playing, and it was only Sharky and Stormin at the time. Maybe Armour was there, or Armour come later, one of the two. But Armour was definitely around as well, so it was them three. And yeah, and then eventually I started to see the reaction, because they did used to get a lot of bookings as well, like just little local things they was doing, to get me, like, so they was around, because there was a lot of pirate radios, like not DEJA, like Flavor FM. They used to put on little dances here and there, so they was playing at them, and I'd go along with them and I'd play, and then I'd started seeing that the tunes from his record box was working. So then I started seeing the reactions, and I'm like, hang on. So there was tunes that I didn't like, and I started playing it, like, no, play that. I started playing them, and then eventually I ended up liking it, and I was getting on like that. Then more Hyper joined, then Double used to come now and again. Then I used to hear Jammer's name a lot. Jammer's got a studio, Jammer this, Jammer that. Then eventually I met Jammer. Then I ended up cutting my first dub plate. Dizzy brung me Ready for War. It was all just sort of happening so quick. And and then before you know it, because my style was sort of intricate already, that's why I didn't like that. I liked the two-step. That's why I was chopping, and I needed everything to be like perfect. Like the sequence of chops had to be done in a certain way. You get me? So I sort of brung that over into the grime. So then when I had to learn to work with MCs, I sort of worked, how can I do it my way and still get me? And sometimes I'd play things and I'd be like, what's this? You get me? And I'd be like, oh, that one's got too many drums in it. You get me? So
who was your favourite DJ to make you have that choppy style?
The first person I saw chopping was Carl Tough Enough Brian.
Okay.
And then I saw EZ, and I was like, no.
I was gonna say EZ.
100%, massive influence on me.
Because then you influenced a load of people in grime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd say you was, the first choppy DJ in grime. Properly.
Potentially.
And then there was loads of born after you, wasn't it?
Yeah. But you need to in my opinion, I think when I started, there weren't any other grime DJs anyway.
Okay.
When I started playing grime, because there was me, Slimzy, and Carnage, and then people came after that. Yeah, Bionics came after Carnage, because Roll Deep first started with Carnage, and then other DJs was added, like Danny Weed, and Target was a part of Roll Deep. Beg was Rough Squad.
Yeah.
But from what the first few that I heard that was sort of up there was sort of them three. But then there was more that come Maximum, Beg, even
Nasty,
Skepta.
Yeah, was Nasty a garage crew before grime?
Essentially, yeah, because what they was playing, like what I was saying, like when I say, what just Sticky Triplets is. There's another song called Raw. It's R.O.R.A.R. Like it was songs like that, like songs like that, and it was sort of the transition just between. Maybe you might have had Dilemma, like from So Solid might have been out, and Walt. Things like that. So it was just right in that transition period. You might have had Agent X Decoy might have been around. A lot of Wookiee stuff. Definitely the Wookiee Storm. It was all of that, and I sort of came into that. Came into that era.
So who back then? Who was or even let's just go grime. Who's your favourite producers? When you used to I love their releases. Or you look forward to them. Or you look forward to getting the dub plates from them. Who was it?
Well, for me, obviously, Dizzy would be number one, because anything he brung was fire. But then there was so many, man.
Because I remember you used to have some crazy Ho and Go remixes.
Yeah.
You was the first one with them all the time.
Yeah. And even the dubs, and he had
some of them. When you think about it, I'm thinking, is he producing these for MAK 10? Because of the way you used to chop.
Yeah.
Like used to have these. They weren't like that in the beginning. Them Go tunes, and then they just started having loads of choppy sounds in them.
Yeah. But some of them was bootlegs as well. But in terms of producers, it's another difficult one. Like I've been getting a lot of my old tunes sent back to me.
Yeah.
Because I ain't got them through digital, and people who's bought dub plates and bought vinyls and stuff. I'll sort of get onto that a bit later, a bit more. But And there's loads of producers I forgot about. Macabre Unit was sick. I used to love getting their stuff.
Was sick.
Yeah, 100%. They made a lot of bangers.
They had so many bangers.
A lot of
They're actually
bangers.
a decent crew. Actually, did you ever hear them with the MCs and that as well?
I didn't.
They were actually good.
I didn't.
I remember one of their sidewinder sets, but like sometimes they've done the studio ones.
Yeah.
They were decent.
Yeah,
They're from Luton.
Luton or Bedford?
Yeah, like up that way. Yeah. Cause they had a little scene up there, didn't it? They were good.
Yeah.
They had the label with all the star signs and that, like
Taurus
Taurus
and all of that. Genius was another one. Genius used to put out some bangers like Jam Hot, Da Vinci. I used to look forward to Da Vinci stuff. Yeah, man, there's loads. Johnny Cash as well. Johnny had a few bangers and he was in his own lane.
Do you miss those times?
Do I miss
You think back and think, oh man, like I'd love to go back there.
Do you know what? It's difficult. Yes and no, because it's a mad thing for me. Because if I'm honest, brutally honest, I feel like I've been living in that for so long. I've been living in it for so long, and I kind of want to step away from it. But it's who I am. But I don't want it to define me, if that makes sense. Like now. But I'm in a different place now. But I have been living in that for so long.
It's funny you say that.
Chasing that.
I bumped into Mighty Mo.
Yeah.
On a random one. Yeah. In a park.
Yeah.
And he said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He said the same thing. He said like he's been in it for so long that it's, he wants to go a different direction. Yeah. And it doesn't hit the same for him anymore.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Is it because you've been in the game so long?
No, I just kind of want to stand alone. Stand alone. And not just be defined. Well, me personally, I'm living in Nasty Crew, like in my past. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
like,
course.
I want to break away. Like this is me today now.
Yeah,
back like doing my thing. So I mean, that's the point I would like to reach. So obviously, I would love. Like, who would I be kidding for us not to be able to have another Nasty set one day?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Course, and everyone's big. It sounds so ridiculous because of the levels everyone's reached. But it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Just for the people.
Yeah.
You get
That's
me?
an expensive set.
It's expensive, but you know what? A lot of the guys are down to earth. You get me? It's still around like normal. Yeah. No one's really changed. Yeah, the money might be up. They might still be out there and on that to a lot of people. But when it comes to the hood and being around the man, them, they're still the same person. You get me? So.
You'd hope so, man. Just while we're here and we, obviously we spoke about Nasty, we have to go back to your brother and give him some flowers as well, man, because he is one of the pillars in UK music. Yeah,
even as a personality, not everything. Just a DJ.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like he brought together one of the best and biggest crews. He as a DJ, he's he's evolved and gone for a couple scenes, stayed relevant, done well. And again, like he deserves his flowers. I know obviously sometimes he's been outspoken and some people like, some people don't, but he's him, and that's part of grime and part of UK history.
100%.
Again, I just feel like he's a big personality that deserves a big shout out, man.
Yeah. Big up Marcus. 100%.
So so staying even like with your brothers, man, like you've got a very talented siblings, family line. What was it like growing up in your house in terms of, obviously your other brothers are a bit younger, yeah?
Yeah, they're younger. You know what? I haven't really asked them their experience around it, but I could sort of paint a picture of what my house was like in them times. Like, Esco would be in my house 24/7. It was always in my house. Sharky would always be in my house. Stormin would always be in my house. Now and again, Double or someone else might pop up. Dizzy would come to my house. So the grime scene was in and out of there.
Are we talking about Plaster?
Where I lived, and I just had my back room, and the way my room was, I had my decks, all my dubs around the room, and my house, I'm just mixing all day. Man, I'm sitting on my bed, burning weed, and I'm mixing. You get me? And it's just all day mixing, and they're just spitting their bars, man. I'm writing. You get me? And big up Sharky as well, because I always say this, because when I first joined it, I didn't know about 8 bars and 16s, and Sharky's like, no, do it there, bring it out there, boom, boom. So I didn't know, to get me. So he used to pattern me with like.
He's a smart guy though, isn't he?
Yeah, Sharky's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
And so he sort of he's sort of given me little tips on working around MCs, and you know that helped me a lot. Having Sharky around, because Sharky was a DJ as well. Sharky started as a DJ.
Okay.
He used to spit always, but he was a DJ as well, so he kind of got the mechanics of it, you know. But yeah, I mean, Esco wrote that. Esco Big Bars. He wrote that. Bet your name is Marvin. He wrote that in my room.
Oh, is it?
You get me? So
R.I.P. Esco, man,
yeah,
legendary.
Esco, R.I.P.
So how old were you? How old were Grime and Little Nas back then?
Oh yeah, sorry, I went off on one.
Nah, that's good, man. Listen, it's stories. It's what we like to hear.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, so that would be happening, and their room's next door, innit? So they can hear everything was going on when the man is spitting, man, and mixing. And Nas used to mix as well. You get me? Come and take my tunes and go youth centre with my records and all that. You know them older brother, younger brother. What you doing with my tunes?
Who's older? You two?
Me still.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I ain't checked in how they sort of, but I know they would sit outside and listen.
You lot would probably make a sick podcast together, you know that? If you just sat there and just went through some stories together.
I know.
To get it from all the different perspectives, all the different age and angles, you know what I mean?
I hear that.
So they was in school, was they listening to you lot back then?
Yeah, definitely.
So then they must have, like, their friends must have been like, let us come run.
Definitely. They definitely would have had some hype, because it was peak times and they was both in school.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In secondary school as well. So,
and then obviously they then started to pick it up themselves. Little Nas DJ'd first, didn't he?
He DJ'd first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he picked up the mic. Can't remember when Grime started, but he started young as well.
Yeah, I remember he started in school, because I remember there was that freestyle he done in his school uniform.
Yeah.
That went viral.
Yeah.
So you had you lot are all talented and all into music.
Yeah, man.
What was the home situation? Was your mum and dad?
Yeah, mum and dad there. My dad's in a band.
I was going to say, was your dad a sound man? Or?
Yeah. Rehearsals in my yard, you get me? It's just been a music house.
So what were your neighbours like then?
You have to ask them.
What was it like for your neighbours? Did they still knock on your door?
You have to ask them.
Was they scared or was they alright?
I don't know. No, my neighbours was cool still.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's cool. I don't remember any complaints around the music stuff.
So, just a random one. So you're from East. You support West Ham?
You know what? I supported West Ham, yeah, but I don't follow football. But I supported West Ham, and I went to Stratford one day, and the fans was just like, I was like, no. I'm not West Ham anymore. I'm Arsenal.
Why? They're just hearing some things.
They were just mad. It's mad. I can't. Yeah, no, it wasn't for me. But. Yeah, big up West Ham though. Big up West Ham, man.
Because I remember speaking to your brother one time about something, Marcus. Because I support Millwall, and he was telling me a story.
Yeah.
He was round your area, and he said Millwall were playing West Ham.
Yeah.
And he said Millwall walking down near your road.
Yeah.
And he said he just joined in with him and just started going mad with him. He said he just joined up a Millwall and just started going mad.
Yeah, because where we lived, it's like there's like if you're a West Ham fan, you'd know the alley that leads up to Upton Park Stadium. We sort of lived right at the top of that alley, so everyone would walk up that alley to the stadium. So yeah, it was.
What was it like growing up around there? Was you comfy? Was it like
that was different? It was challenging sometimes.
Yeah,
challenging.
For what reasons? Compared to now,
I don't know, because I moved out of there a long time ago. But my experience around it was like, my brothers had a name for themselves in it, so
yeah,
it was just a bit manic.
So was you, like, on a personal level, was you ever down that road? In terms of, because obviously I know Marcus had a name for himself.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, I won't go into too much detail, but I remember one time, me and Dot Rotten.
Yeah.
So I used to be Dot's DJ.
Yeah.
We came to Greengate Pub to link Grime.
Yeah.
And Little Nas was up to something crazy over the road. He was doing something crazy. And then he came and met us after. I could see what he was doing. It was crazy. I'm not going to say what it was. So obviously he used to do his bits and bobs as well.
Yeah.
So was you ever like that?
You see, when you say, all right, let's just say what it is. Like, what are you talking about? Violence? Or are we talking
just
about?
like, you know, because you don't, when it comes to you, you don't hear too much.
Yeah, because
There's not a lot about you around.
Yeah,
if you get what I'm saying. Whereas Marcus had a reputation, or
yeah,
you know,
okay,
gave off that persona at least.
yeah.
Little Nasty obviously
Yeah.
speaks a lot, so
Yeah.
he's saying I've done this and this, and
Yeah.
I personally seen him up to something.
Yeah.
So
all right, cool. So my thing was when I was younger, I did sort of get involved in certain things like violence and all of this sort of stuff, but that wasn't really me. I used to do it because I thought that's what I was meant to do. My brothers do it, and I'll do this, I'll do that. And I used to sort of walk around wearing a mask. I used to do certain things, you know. And then obviously I found music. I found ways to make my focus. My thing was more women and money.
okay.
Firstly, women.
Yeah, yeah.
I say that. I don't say that lightly as well, because I don't take it as a joke these days, because I've changed my ways. I was really wrapped up in that.
Of course.
And then when I was, because you know, big up my mum as well. My mum was a grafter. You know, my dad does what he can. But 6 boys, it was difficult growing up, yeah, financially. So my mum done the best she could. But when there was things that I couldn't have, and I found a way to get them, I went wild getting them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was good at finding ways to get them. Let's say, like
Yeah, you don't need to incriminate yourself.
yeah. No. I could, it's not even incriminating myself, because I've been to prison for it.
Okay.
But you know, because it leads into whatever else we may speak about. But I was good at manipulating and wearing masks and playing different people. You know, I'd go to one area, be one person, be another person there. I could talk anyone out of anything. So I went to prison for fraud eventually.
Okay.
And that's something I was doing and I was good at.
What age was that? What age did you get banged up?
That wasn't even long ago. It was like 2015, bro.
Okay.
That's how long it took to catch up with me.
Oh, it took that long to come back to bite you.
We won't talk about that stuff, but
good.
we'll talk about I got caught for that eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole nother ball game. But yeah, so that's my thing. Was short answers, money.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
you don't hear too much about what Mac's life was like away from the decks.
Yeah.
Whereas your brothers, you do hear a bit about it.
Yeah, because I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
And I've found now I've started talking a bit more of how misunderstood I potentially could have been, but of a fault of my own, because of me wearing a mask and me pretending to be something else.
Okay. You mentioned all your obviously other brothers. We're going to get a little bit deeper now. So obviously you lost one of your brothers to knife crime.
Yeah.
So, like tell me the effects that had on you as an older brother.
That was a tough one. Just a tough one. I don't even know if I'm comfortable to speak about it right now because of the other people. I still speak about myself. I speak about it myself. I can speak about it. It's my brother.
I just want to know how it affected you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough.
Obviously, there's nothing that can prepare you for that.
It was tough. And if I'm honest, it's not something that I addressed straight away.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It took me a long time to even be able to talk about it. I couldn't visit his grave.
Yeah.
All things like that. It affected me and I didn't realise how it had affected me. Yeah, and we'll come back to that.
Are you getting through it now? Do you feel like, not as in...
I can talk about it, yeah, I can talk.
Are you visiting his grave now?
I've visited his grave. I'd like to visit it more.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, like, I don't know if you want to talk about this stuff yet. Do you know what I mean?
We're unpacking stuff already.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So, all right, cool. So, obviously, you know, I'm in recovery. I've been suffering.
Yeah, we can step into that now if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So, I'm in recovery. I've been using like a certain substance, yeah, since I was 17. Yeah. So when we go back to when I'm talking about all of this stuff about me growing up and wearing masks, acting violent, and doing all sorts of foolishness, that was me looking for validation. Now I understand. Yeah. When I started music, I found validation, so I stopped doing the violent thing. So I was getting validation from music.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a middle child. I grew up in a household where there was weed and alcohol and all of that, violence. I wouldn't have called this trauma. Now I understand it as it can be sort of traumatic. I'm not going to go into the deep things, but I've
Yeah,
seen a
yeah,
lot. Yeah,
of course, yeah, of course.
I've seen a lot, and that's no one's fault. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm going to make that very clear that I'm not blaming anyone because I made a choice to then carry on what I was doing when there was a point when I could have stopped earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got to see my part in that, and that I did have a choice at some point to stop doing what I was doing. So anyway, so I'm suffering with this thing, and I don't think I'm suffering. Even if someone said to me, "Oh, you use like I've been using," that to me, if you said that to me, I'd be like, "That's what addicts like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
hard
yeah.
people who do hard drugs." Like I would be offended by that, you know. But a lot's changed. I'm trying to just skip around. So I've unpacked a lot of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to pirate radio and doing all of that. Music's giving me validation. So obviously I'm getting that sort of stuff. And when I said to you around the nasty stuff, could I have done more? There was times, I just keep it real, I had money and I'd give money for people to go and cut records and I didn't even care about the money. Because I was just doing what I was doing. And would I have done that today? No. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't do that today. I'd just give people money and like, oh, they needed to cut records and all of that. I'd just give the money. And so I was doing my own sort of thing. So there's things that I didn't acknowledge. And when I said there was things that's sketchy and it was all like, but to me, it's just like, that's just how you operate, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like if people need things, let's do it. It's not all like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so that sort of stuff was going on. And then obviously I started getting more involved in this. When I say street stuff, I don't mean like violent street stuff. I mean partying, raving, cars, girls, money, all of this delusional lifestyle that man think is good. At the time, obviously, I'm young, I'm living, but the music's dropping away, and now I'm finding validation in there. That's fulfilling my void now, isn't it?
Okay.
So obviously, in all this time, I'm still taking certain substance and drinking and all of that, and the music starts dipping off. But all of these things, what I've come to realize was suppressing all my emotions. Yeah, so all of the things that I would have normally felt, like my brother dying, crews breaking up, when people were taking a piss, and all of these things, I'm not acknowledging because I'm not in the right mind state. I'm just become so self-centered and me that I can only see what I'm doing, what I want. I don't care about anyone else. I get what I want. I take what I want from anyone. Do what I want. Don't care how anyone feels. It's all about me. Like I'm living in that, and I don't even know I'm living in it. And that's because of what I'm using and what I'm doing. But you know, I can't speak on anyone else, but that's what I've come to realize, how I was behaving, because I've done this work on myself, and I got to such a low point that I had to go back and unpack all this stuff.
What made you get to the stage where you had to start, I wouldn't want to say changing, but what made you start addressing? You don't have to go into too much detail. No. We reach a point where we want to make a change, or we just had enough, or we lose something.
It's important I'll be as honest as possible around this stuff. You see the music stuff, because a lot of the music stuff involves other people. I have to be careful what I say.
Yeah, of course.
You get me? And even with like my recovery and my addiction, there's people I've harmed within my addiction that obviously I need to go and make right. You get me? That I haven't yet. But
Listen, the thing is as well, you
yeah.
know we're all guilty of this as well, innit?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're not the only one sitting there like, I'm doing this, like we're all guilty of something
Yeah.
and hurting someone or
Yeah,
or
yeah,
being
yeah.
up to something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like no one's an
Yeah,
angel,
no,
bruv. Do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
no, I get that, and I'm not perfect, but this is why I do this, and I share it from my experience
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I can't speak on
That's
anyone
all you can
else.
do.
I have to speak on my experience and hope that something resonates with someone because
Which it will, 100%.
you know, and this is what I mean, and I will be as brutally honest as I can around this stuff because it involves me, and I know that somewhere someone is suffering and
Yeah.
they're suffering in silence and they don't need to because this thing kills people. Like today, look, we're doing this around Christmas, yeah. Last Christmas I was in rehab. Last New Year's I was in rehab. And today, like I went come out of rehab, I relapsed. I got 9 months clean. I relapsed, and like in that short period of time, it was my first time in recovery. Yeah, and you learn so much, you unravel it all, and then if you relapse, well, when I relapsed, I found it worse because I had all this knowledge, I knew what I was suffering with, and all of this stuff, and I just was in such a dark place. I felt suicidal. I was just in such a rut, yeah, and it's difficult knowing. Like they say, oh, you use against you. Like addiction is using against your will. Yeah, like
Okay.
I'm using when I don't want to. You couldn't have told me that 2 years ago because I would have told you I love it. I would have told you I love it. I do it because I want to do it. Yeah, I'm not using against my will. It's willpower. It's not. It's definitely not because when I relapsed, I could not, no matter what, stop myself from using. I could not stop myself because I understand now. It's a threefold illness, yeah. So there's an allergy of the body, yeah, and a spiritual malady, and an obsession of the mind. And what I mean by that, if I put a substance in me, it sets off an allergy in my body that sets off a phenomenon of craving, which means I become obsessed over it, that I can't stop. So that obsession goes once you stay off it for a while, yeah.
Okay.
No matter what it is, any form of substance, yeah. You stay off it for a while, you will stop obsessing about it. Or you might have a thought, but it's just a thought. It's not a physical allergy where you can't stop yourself. That's the point of using against your will. So the minute I put something back into my system, I've set off my craving again. So that's when it becomes, it's not a choice anymore. It becomes overpowering that I can't stop myself from using no matter what. But I didn't understand that before. I thought I was just using because I liked it. So how many birthdays, Christmases, events, gigs, stuff like that I missed because of the state I was in, and I would have swore to God that I'm not going to do it that day before. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to do it. I swear, put my hand in fire. I tell you, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I believe I'm not going to do it. But I don't know. I'm already off and running because I've set that allergy off. So what I'm trying to say is today, someone I was in a rehab with when I went back the second time died.
Wow.
This morning.
Died this morning.
And around the Christmas time and New Year's, it's a tough time for people in recovery. What I'm saying is it's a killer.
Why is that?
It's because of the triggers. It's the party thing. It's a tough time because everyone's drinking, everyone's merry, you know, and it's like, I'm missing out.
Yeah.
You know, the obsession's not there, but the thought is. And if you act on that thought, you're fucked. If there's three frogs on a lily pad, and one makes a decision to jump, how many's left?
So there's 3 on there. One jumps.
One makes a decision to jump, yeah.
Well, there should be 2 left, but I'm guessing it's not going to be that.
Yeah, no, it's not 2. It's 3 because he made a decision. He didn't actually jump.
Oh, so
you know what I'm saying? It's just the thought. So, but if you make the decision and jump, you're fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So the thoughts for me still come, but I don't act on them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
so then, all right. So then, when you get those thoughts, how you? Because we haven't even dug in yet. I know you're touching upon it, but so when you get these thoughts, how are you managing to back them away, or how are you protecting yourself?
There's things that I do. There's certain things like I call someone that are maybe in a similar situation to myself. I read.
Nice.
There are things that I can't speak about on here, but what I'm happy to speak to people about. But there are things you can do. You know, there's fellowships around and things like that that people are part of.
How do you feel today then when you got the call about your? What do you call them? What would you call someone who was in rehab
I would
with?
call them a friend.
Your friend, okay. So your
Because I've
friend.
made some really good friends in there. I don't know what else I would call them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
don't. Yeah, that's what I
and
thought I'd ask.
don't know what I felt. And this is
Have
another...
you even processed it?
No, no. And this is the thing, but we'll go back to my brother. I'd suppressed all of that. I suppressed all of that. And like when I stopped sort of using and all of that, all these feelings come back. I was in tears. I was all over the place. And what I was trying to get at as well is this is a killer illness. Like, it kills people. It's not a joke to me.
What does addiction?
Addiction kills people. And the friend that I'm speaking about, I met the version of him not using. And this is a very talented guitarist. He was very talented. He was sick and such a nice person. And I've met in his 20s.
Oh, man.
And I met that version of him. And I just think, sometimes I meet people and I think, I can't imagine you being, when they speak about what they was like in active addiction, I can't see that person. And I was living in that for 23 years.
20, that's a long time.
A long time, and like, I forgot who I was.
Are we talking weekly?
Daily,
monthly? What are we talking here?
I would go through periods of daily, weekly, every few days, to eventually it did get to daily. Eventually,
how many different types of drugs are we talking?
My main thing, if I'm honest, can I be specific?
Yeah,
it was cocaine.
The real one is
cocaine. Yeah, it was my main thing, and alcohol.
Gear is everywhere as well.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Like in all industries, all types of work.
Yeah,
they even found traces of it in the Parliament toilets, didn't they?
Yeah, but that's this is the thing. Yeah, this thing does not discriminate. People assume that the guy in the street door, or the homeless person, or the people standing around the phone boxes, that's what all drug addicts look like. They don't. It does not discriminate.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've got to try and keep it around myself, but I've got to be real about what I've seen.
Yeah. You don't have to name names.
No,
anyway,
I wouldn't name names, but there's doctors, there's solicitors, there's people. It don't matter what culture, how much money you've got. It doesn't matter. It gets everyone. I've seen there's people everywhere with money, people without money, people with work, people in work. People, you could be working around someone right now that's in recovery, struggling with addiction. They're not struggling anymore, but they're in addiction. And there's a difference between being in clean and being in addiction. Like being in recovery, is an action. Like saying sorry is a word. That's not real. Sorry is an action. In my opinion, gratitude, showing gratitude, that's an action. These things you don't do by saying them like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for you. It's like, this is gratitude. Here, you're doing gratitude with me. When you said what you said, like, I'm grateful you're coming. You're showing like gratitude by having me here, and I've come here, and this is my gratitude to you. I've come here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That is gratitude for me. But like I was saying about the clean and the recovery, like, because I've been periods where I've been clean and not using, but because I don't understand, I'm going to always go backwards. So if I don't educate myself around what is happening with me, I'm always going to end up back there. And that's not everyone's experience, that's my experience.
What point, like, is it an addiction? Because with gear, it's so social as well.
Yeah.
That a lot of people do it and let's just say they only do it when they go out and have a drink.
Yeah.
Are they addicted to it?
See, this is the thing, you have to ask that individual, but there is people...
But you wouldn't have been able to answer that in certain times in that past 23 years. 23 years?
Yeah, 23 years, but I would have told you no. But guess what? Watch this. If say me and someone, are using together and I'm out in a club, when I go home, you don't know what I'm doing.
No, of course.
I could be calling it on till 2-3 days later, and I'm still going.
I've got friends that do that though. So
yeah,
are they in your head? Is that are they addicted?
If you do something and you can't stop doing it, you're an addict. If you something,
yeah. So where is stop? Because let's just say you go home, you've been on out.
When all your money's gone,
go home. Okay,
all your money's gone. You physically can't do anymore. You fall asleep, like you or just something just. Is not, you don't want to stop, you'll just keep going. Because some people have enough in abundance to do, and they just do it till they can't physically do anymore.
It's a very expensive habit as well, isn't
it's
it?
a very expensive habit. And the thing is, sometimes I would express this as well. You see the person that I'm talking about that might end up in the doorway or at the phone box. That there's no reason why that couldn't happen to me. It just didn't happen to me yet. There's loads of things I said I would never, ever, ever do, or I'd point fingers at someone and say, oh, I'm not as bad as that guy. And I would eventually end up being that person doing that. It's just don't happen yet, and you will hear it a lot in recovery. Just yet, it just didn't happen yet. It depends what level you decide to stop, what point you decide to stop, because that point you will end up. There's no reason why, and I can't sit here and tell you either that I wouldn't have tried any other sort of drugs. Now I know that I could put my hand in fire and tell you, but you've heard me say this before, I wouldn't. But who's to say if my drug of choice wasn't available when someone else had something else, and I had gone that far that I wouldn't take
just
that?
need something, Do
you know what I mean?
And this might be a tough question to ask. I'm not sure if this is a question to ask someone who's been through what you've been through. For me, I've done gear a few times, and I don't get it. Like some of my mates love it, love it. Whether I'm at football, whether I'm at raving, whatever, I love raving. For me, when I've done gear, it's just giving me a blocked nose. Even need to go to the toilet.
You're one of the lucky ones. You had a lucky escape.
I'm like, nah, this don't do it for me. What is it that grabbed you, like, in terms
I don't know, because this is the thing. When I say a spiritual malady, the threefold illness, there's a void in me, innit, that I don't know, like, there's a void. Like, so some form of trauma or something like that may have made me feel somewhat type of way, yeah? And I can't say it was, and I'll sort of get into that a bit more, but that may have something to do with it. Some people don't have trauma. They've been brought up in the most loving home, you know. And I'm not saying I wasn't. But, yeah, my thing, what was the question again?
Like, what did you like about gear?
Okay.
Because me, whenever I've done it,
it filled a void. It filled a void that, all right, cool. So I'll go back to my first thing was drinking, Remember, I'm shy, I'm quiet. I don't have much. So I'm an introvert. I'm acting up to try and become popular. My brothers are popular. So I'd start drinking. Now I'm loud, innit? I'm funny. Girls find me funny. Girls. Smoke weed, I'm funny again. Yeah, I'm funny. Now I'm out. And if you've got that, now you can talk. It was yap, and I don't talk, innit? So I don't know, it just filled a void for me, innit? And then I'll be honest, the first few, maybe year or two wasn't that bad. It was social, recreational. And then it just started getting wild. Wild. Really wild.
Because I've got friends that, who use it a lot. And do I look at them as addicts? Probably not.
Yeah, but this is the thing. They may not even themselves. I didn't. I wouldn't tell you I'm an addict. I find it difficult to say that. That hurt my heart. Even now, sitting there saying I'm an addict is painful. It's still. It's not easy for me to say. Like, I still. Like, when I leave it, my brain might do a number on me. Like, what did I say? Do you know what I mean? But I'm at peace with that now, and I'm in a place. And this is another thing I want to say as well, because I'm going to be doing my own podcast as well around this sort of stuff. And what I want to say is, like, it's not a safe thing for someone in active addiction or that's not got the recovery tools around them to do something like this.
Okay.
So I will make that very clear, because I'm opening up, and that's not just being very, like, do it in private first, because I've done a lot of work around me, and there's still people who may not find this easy to do, and it can mess with my head even, but I'm at peace with it. I've always wanted to do something like this if I sorted myself out.
So imagine you on your podcast. Can you imagine putting someone who's still active in the hot seat?
I wouldn't. I've been approached by people and I've told them that I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't, because if they don't have a certain amount of clean time, I know how dangerous it would be. I was in a very vulnerable state when I first come into recovery, and even when I left the rehab the first time, I'd stopped using the drugs. But it's not just about the drugs. My addiction plays out in other ways in my life. Yeah, so around women, around the gym,
we
around
have addictive
food,
personalities as humans, though, don't we? A lot of us. We have
exactly,
addictive personalities. So.
For me, it's dangerous because it will lead me back into using a substance.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I didn't understand. I can't just because I stopped using don't mean that I'm not an addict or I'm going to go rehab and walk out of there fixed.
No,
this is something I have to do for the rest of my life. And a lot of people may not understand it, but it's literally every day I have to do something. And I have to address my addiction every single day. And I will take that any time over the pain, how much pain I was in doing it eventually, when I realised what was going on with me. And
do you know what? Because like just on a personal level, like my mum was a drug addict for 10 or so years. I won't go into too much because she's not sitting there. But it's weird because when I see her now, it doesn't cross my mind at all. And you're saying daily you have to do it, and I'm thinking, right, I wonder if my mum has to do that.
Well, if she's clean now, there's a high chance that she is.
Yeah, she's
just
been
maybe
clean for a long time because we're talking about even harder stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like
there is a very, very big chance that she is, and I mean I'm talking on my experience.
Of course, you can only talk
but she it's not easy because it don't go away. It don't go away. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I will go backwards.
Yeah.
It's not like, I can walk out and I'm fixed. Some people, don't get me wrong, I've met people who say they don't do the stuff that I have to do. They've just put it down and they're good, but their behaviour's still all wild.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But for me, that behaviour is what I have to contain because that behaviour is my addict. Is messing with my head. It's almost like a mental. It is a mental illness because look, if I take something and it makes me paranoid. Paranoid, let's call it what it is. It's a psychosis. It's psychosis. I'll be brutally honest. Like, I'll take something. I'm 2 days in, and then I'm saying, "Shh, please, please."
Yeah.
I'll swear down, and there's gonna be someone sitting there laughing because they're doing the same thing.
Yeah. I've been around. Yeah.
That's psychosis. That's psychosis. It's not. You're not paranoid. Oh, yeah, whatever. And weed can do that to you. Yeah, maybe not as extreme, but it can. So that is psychosis, and what is more mad about that and insane is that I will go and do it again. And like I said, there's a thing, I've said this before, would you walk up to someone and say, give me £50 of psychosis, give me £50 of paranoia, give me £50 of a heart attack, can I have some more, can I have some more? Call them all night. Furthermore, load it on, give it to me in bulk, and we'll dish it all out and we'll all be the same. It's this, and that's when is it fun? If there's someone still doing that, I really ask yourself, what is it really fun after that first one? It's not fun. Because
my personal experience of drugs, I like doing psychedelics.
Yeah.
I don't really rave no more because I'm just past it, but I love taking acid in raves.
Yeah.
Things like that. Obviously ecstasy.
Yeah.
All of that, MD, everything.
Yeah.
But I used to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And like have a great time.
Yeah.
And obviously for me it was only raving.
Yeah.
Obviously done mushrooms and that and more.
Yeah.
But I'd never done drugs at home. And do you feel like that's the line? Once you start doing drugs at home,
that's where
on your own and things like that, is that the line where you're like, whoa?
That's where it leads to. That's where it leads to for an addict. For me, it led me to isolation. From that party lifestyle to what you're talking about, because that's how I started. What
rave scene did you start in? Because you said you was going
I used to go to garage, little garage raves, and there was one in Essex as well. What is it called? Epping Forest Country Club. I used to go there, pop a few Smarties.
But it's all so normal there, yeah? You wouldn't think that's the start of a journey where you are now. You'd never think that, would you?
No, but answer me this honestly. Is standing in a rave, gurning, fun? Think about it honestly.
It's not when you take a step back from looking out in, but when you're doing it and you might be in a situation where it's all right because you might not have much responsibility, and you still make it to work on Monday morning.
But then
it's all right. But I feel like if it's continuous for say 10 years, 15 years, then it's like, where's this going?
But do you know what? It's interesting to have this conversation with you because you're sitting there and you seem to be in a good place. And to me, the way you speak about it don't seem like...
But I don't think I've ever been in a bad place with drugs.
Yes.
I've never smoked.
Yeah.
So obviously you know, our culture, everyone
Yeah.
blazes. My mum
Yeah.
and dad smoke,
Yeah.
my brother
Yeah.
and sister
Yeah.
smoke.
Yeah.
Everyone blazes. So I never smoked. So I've the paranoia side of things I've never ever had when it comes to drugs.
Yeah.
I've only done party drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've only done pills,
Yeah.
MD, done a bit of gear, but
Yeah.
again, like I said, didn't do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my experience with drugs are always happy.
Yeah, but
And fun.
that's how it starts. But it always starts like that. But when are you willing to take the risk to find out if you are an addict, especially knowing that it's in your family? That's the question. What I'd ask you, but I'd ask a lot of people. Are you? That's where it becomes dangerous, because no one starts off like that. And you see, you've still got the power of choice.
Yeah.
Eventually, that power of choice goes.
So,
But you
so is that
think it don't. You
is
think
that
you're
because of
making
how
a choice.
regularly you're doing it now? Do you think? Not you. I mean, just
No,
now we're talking
yeah.
like someone who's just starting to get into it. Yeah, we're talking about a third person now. Let's
Yeah.
just say you're saying how when does you ask the question, are you an addict? For me, if I stop raving, when I stopped raving, I stopped taking drugs.
Yeah, but you may not be an addict. I don't believe the way you're talking. I can't speak for you, but from what I'm getting from you is that you've still had the power of choice. You started early enough and stopped early enough where you still had the power of choice.
Yeah.
I had the power of choice at the beginning. I could have stopped. There was times when I did, but I was still chasing that fun.
And this,
And
for
then
me,
it
like
changed.
when
the
we're talking,
choice got taken.
from our experience, this I feel like it's where are you taking these drugs has a big part to play. Because
No.
for me, if I'm not in the rave, I'm not taking drugs. Whereas you
Yeah.
might have started taking drugs in parties,
Yeah.
which then leads to bedrooms. Or
Yeah.
so if you're taking place, and then slowly it becomes okay. Now we're in our bedroom.
Yeah.
So that
But
you're in your place where you spend the most time, and now you're doing those things.
Yeah.
Then it becomes more normal.
Yeah, but this is a very, very common thing that I've heard and I've been to. I'm not like them because I work. I'm not an addict because I work. I'm not an addict because I still get up and I go to work.
But are you taking? Is
No.
that person taking drugs at work?
No, they might not be.
Okay.
They might only do it on the weekend.
So,
But then
okay, yeah.
it starts like that.
Yeah, it starts like that. Yeah,
Eventually, it will catch up.
yeah.
And
So that's the key. I feel like when it's not now just in that place, and now you're bringing it into different areas of your life.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like the game changes, right?
When
Obviously, there's no right and wrong answer to this.
No,
It's
no,
just
no. I'll
opinion,
talk from my experience here. Mine, I don't know. I can tell. I know when mine got bad because I was sitting up for 3 days. Yeah, and that,
Which I know is bad because I've had people call me
Yeah,
that are in the middle of that. So
Yeah.
like, it might be in day 2 and they ain't slept.
yeah,
And they're just talking shit on my phone, and they're like, even scaring me a bit,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
or I
yeah.
bumped into. I
Yeah.
remember I bumped into a geezer in Matt D's, and he's like, "What?" Like, but he's
Yeah.
my pal. He's all like eyes like that and like getting all paranoid, and I'm like, it's quite scary, bro.
Yeah,
Like, let's
no,
be real. And
because-
you've been in that.
yeah. Let's I'll correlate this into the music thing as well. Yeah, so I'm in Nasty these times. Yeah, and I'm somewhere, and I'm up, few of us, and it's this man, it's mayhem in there. Yeah, so we're doing whatever, and I'm 2-3 days in. My phone's beating off. Man, everyone's calling me, beating off my phone, and.
What, they
Now,
can't get hold of you?
They can't get hold of me. But now this is new to me as well. I'm like, right, this is mad. I don't realise that I've just been sitting up for 3 days or whatever. It's a bit of a weird situation. But then what you see about suppressing feelings, what a lot of this stuff does. What I'm doing essentially, like I had kids at a young age, I was embarrassed about it, Not about my kids are beautiful, love them. You get me? I wasn't embarrassed about it, but I didn't know how to deal with that responsibility. So I felt a bit ashamed. I didn't have much to my name. I was a bit embarrassed. I didn't know what to do. So I went into myself a bit more. So all of that. So now I've put it to the nasty thing. I remember I've been acting up, playing the bad boy for a bit. I'm going into myself now a bit more because I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
There's loads of things I'm doing in nasty now. I'm doing this other thing, and now I'm going into myself a bit more. So I'm hiding. I'm becoming more secretive and having to lie more, manipulate more, and do things. And when things are going missing and I haven't got things, and I'm having to sell things that I've obtained, or I'm moving mad with my money, and not paying this one and taking money from this one and doing all sorts of mad things. No matter what way I'd want to dress it up, there's no glamorizing here. I've had and I haven't had. Yeah, all of this stuff that I'm piling on is making me use more. So when I say to you about behaviours and all of that stuff, bringing shame on me, having arguments with people, carrying resentments, being angry, every single feeling becomes a trigger eventually. Wow. So if I feel jealous, if I feel angry, if I feel, I don't know, any feeling, sad, happy, like I could go to a place, a restaurant, and if I end up using there, every restaurant becomes a trigger.
Wow, that's powerful, man.
It's bad. It's been bad. It's been bad to the point where I've called it on at the gym while I'm in the gym.
So like it was just you just used it to cope with everything.
Everything, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand what I was doing until a certain situation. And you know what? The maddest situation is, the situation that made me stop wasn't even that deep to what made me want to go rehab wasn't even that deep, if that makes sense. Like I've been in situations, like I've moved homes, I've had kids and said the kid will, like, saying that mad. I had children and I said that when this baby's born, I'm going to stop. No, didn't stop. Moved. When I move, I'm going to stop. No, didn't stop. Just carried on. All of these things I tried to fix outside. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to sort myself out. I'm going to get a job. I'm not going to do music. I'm going to go and work in the city. In the city,
There's loads of it in the city, though.
There's a whole different culture. Done that. Went abroad. Worked abroad. Mayhem. Everything. Nothing. You see, when I went to the rehab, nothing external is going to fix me. And I met people from all walks of life. All walks of life. And, you know, I went in there as well, carrying this ego, this grandiose, I've done music, I'm this, but I'm going to walk in there, I've got all these stories, I've patterned this and I've done that.
Yeah, of course.
No. I'm not the man. I'm not the man. Trust me. And anyone who's carrying any sort of stigma around what an addict is, believe me, you will be very surprised. A lot of people, all shapes and forms, and there's no one bigger than anyone. Everyone's got a better story. And I've met some of my friends that I've met, you know, and they've come from up there down to there. So you could be that man today thinking, I'll never be like that. And you're sitting around all this stuff. Yeah. I've seen it. I've been around people who's been there. You can easily end up back down there as well. Of course. So address it if you can. And I don't wish it on anyone. So I'm not saying it in that way, but there needs to be some light shed on that.
Do you think, obviously, it being the most addictive drug in the world is one of the issues, but do you think being MAK 10 also made it harder for you to deal with it? Yeah,
of course.
Because you couldn't. MAK 10 can't be addicted. MAK 10 what mastered.
But you sound like my conscience. Yeah. Because that's what I would say to myself. But who is MAK 10? I'm not that important.
But MAK 10 is a character in a way, isn't it? He's a personality,
exactly. But what I realised, I need to drop that shit because I'm not that important. I'm walking in there. It goes back to my point. I'm walking in there with this whole grandiose behaviour that I'm MAK 10, blah blah blah. Fuck MAK 10, because guess what? Who MAK 10 really is when I close the door. You know what I mean? Let's have it right. When I close the door, MAK 10's at it for 3 days. So fuck MAK 10.
What's your real name? Nathaniel.
Nathaniel, yeah.
Yeah. So but this is what I mean. Like, let's just say you was Nathaniel behind closed doors, but you can't deal with Nathaniel because you have MAK 10 there.
Yeah, no, 1,000,000%. Yeah, but because it's giving me that shame, that embarrassment, and obviously I'm carrying
keep up
appearances that I couldn't keep up.
You had Nathaniel sitting in a room. Up to whatever he was up to, and then you had MAK 10 obviously in your head, you had to keep up appearances with. That must have made it harder to come out of this.
Yeah, but 100%. But that's what kept me in it. You know, that battle. Trapped. Kept me in it as well because again, that's the shame and the guilt and an expectation, and which I carried from young, trying to live up to my brothers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's even another reason of me being trapped in it, because now I'm in it. I don't know how to deal with that, and I had to drop the whole MAK 10 thing. That's why I stopped doing music at one point. Fuck MAK 10. I don't want to do music because I don't like that guy. I don't like what is going on. But like, I understand I'm a good DJ. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like fuck Mac 10 like that. But
yeah.
I get it. Yeah, but some of that ego is still there because it has to be. You get me? I want it now. I want it. I'm in a better place, and I really want it. I'm back to the passion because I never did music for validation. I did it because I loved it. I was drawing vinyls on shoeboxes when I was 6. That was passion. I couldn't maybe I was an addict when I was 6, I don't know. But reality is that that was passion for me, and now I'm back in that good headspace of where I want it. But what I'm saying is I had to drop that ego, because that ego is what kept me stuck in it.
Yeah, do you think that delayed you getting clean?
100%, because I was ashamed about it. I was ashamed about it. I couldn't talk. Even if I didn't go rehab, I'd never be able to talk like this ever. I would never.
How long has it been since you opened up about it all?
Weeks.
I was going to say that I only saw it.
Yeah, publicly, yeah.
Because you know what, I would love to have interviewed you anyway.
Yeah.
And then when you came out, I was like, wow, like I definitely have to reach out because I've had
came out. Like.
And have you had a lot of people reach out to you, like people that weren't, you know, even in the music game, that had no clue, or?
I would say, I've spoken to a few people. Yeah.
And because there's obviously, you know, there's a lot of other people dealing with stuff as well.
Yeah, man, and you know, it's important for me that it's because there's a stigma around it that I carried, and it stopped me from getting help. You see, when you're saying about that whole Mac 10 thing, and I put myself on a pedestal for saying I'm grandiose, I'm up here. That's why I say fuck that guy. That I mean, Nathaniel needs help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everyone else around me is suffering, and I'm walking around leaving the house with this ego about Mac 10 and coming in my house as a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm treating everyone else like a piece of shit, and I'm more important. But now, really, I'm not that important.
But then, that could be the same as someone, like you said, who's a doctor.
Yeah.
Who would be like, I'm a doctor, like I can't let that mask drop. So I'm unable to deal with this addiction because I have to. No one who would trust their doctor if he's on gear.
Yeah, and it's true, and they can still go and get help because I chose to speak about this, but where you go for support is fully confidential. And if you speak to someone who's in a recovery, or who you know of that's had an addiction in the past and they've got a long time of being clean, you can speak to them about it. And if you're not comfortable speaking to them about it, go and find help. And you know what else stopped me from getting help? I would be like on a come down or something like that, and I'll be researching rehabs and that, because not everyone uses rehabs to get clean. So there are other ways, but I'll share my experience through a treatment center. And I used to Google them, and you'd have to fill in a form, and they'd call you, and it's $7,000 a week.
Wow.
$7,000 a week for a rehab, and I found a place that in South London, very helpful. You know what I mean? And it didn't cost me money like that. And you know, if you are in a bad place, holler at me. And I'll point you in the right direction. You get me? But I don't know what they're like in terms of giving details out, so I'm not going to do that. But
while like my thoughts are rolling as you're speaking a minute ago, and I was just like, I wonder if it's easier for someone who hasn't got much, to go into rehab, or to try and get help or come off drugs, because the more you've got, the more you've got to lose. 2, the more like you've got to keep up appearances. So then you accepting you're an addict or trying to get off might be harder.
But I can only speak for myself, but
you've also been around.
Yeah, but like I said, it's an internal thing, because it's not even about the money, because some people can have money to keep paying and going and going. You have to really want to do it. And what I found is, like, if someone paid for me to go rehab but I wasn't ready and I was going to please them, it's not going to work. I have to want to go.
It's got to be from you.
I have to want to go. So if I do it for my family, I'm doing it because my missus said I've got to go there. I don't really want to. I'll be honest. There was a week where I was going because my mum and my missus wanted me to go. And in that week, something happened that made me say, "This is enough. I've had enough." And I wanted to. So it was in that week anyway. And in that week.
So is week a long time in rehab?
No, I was in the rehab for 90 days, but I'm saying the leading up to it going. So I'm waiting for a place. And I'm waiting for them to call me and tell me a date I can go in there. And then something like, so this, I promised my mum and my missus that I'm gonna go. I'll call them, whatever. But I was thinking I don't really want to go. And then something happened. Say that was on Monday, and then on Wednesday something happened, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I need to go. Like, I've had enough. I was in a bad way, and I just called them up and I was like, I need to come in. I'm stuck. Like, you get me? And they was like, called me back that day and said, come in on Monday. But really, these times been waiting for time. So Friday come, and they called me and said, someone got COVID in the house, you got to come on Monday after. So I'm like, okay. But I stuck it out, didn't use for 2 weeks straight until I went in there. And that was a long period for me.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, so, and then something happened in it. They say you have a higher power moment. I don't want to go into all of that because a lot of people do struggle around the spiritual stuff and God and all of that stuff, and I don't want to scare anyone from going to get help. But
remember, this is your story, though.
It's my story, but also I need to be mindful. But there is, and I have to explain it in a way, in a layman's terms, because I could go a lot further, but it may confuse. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but there's more to it. But you sort of have to go through the experience, and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people suffering out there, man. And you know what? I don't want to bring anyone else into this, but look at what happened to Jamal Edwards. He suffered in silence and died, and no one would have put that label on him.
No.
You know what I mean? And he didn't need to suffer.
Yeah, like, I'll be real, bro. Like, I've been in raves with Jamal.
Yeah.
And stuff's going around. Like, I don't know how bad it was with Jamal. I don't know how bad it was, so I can't go into it. But I've been in raves when we've been in raves and pills are flying around and gears flying around, and it's just normal. You don't think it will end up like that. But I don't know how bad it got.
This is what I mean when I say to people, because it's like, I hear people say a lot, but this is my analogy and my opinion, so it's not a fact, yeah? Oh yeah, but like, my pal does it, and like, my pals do it, they just go home, and then I go home, and I carry on. Like, but they're explaining themselves, they're like an addict, but their pals go home. But you don't know what your pal does when they go home.
Yeah.
Because no one knew what I was doing. When I started telling people about, they say, I knew you did it, but I didn't know you had a problem. The minute I did it, I had a problem. It was a problem. But I didn't want to acknowledge
and is that
I had a
for
problem.
everyone, do you think, or just
No, it's not. Well, I'll speak from my experience, but if I'm being brutally honest, I don't believe there's what do they call it? A functioning addict. For me, there's no such thing as a functioning addict. There may be someone who can. There are people who can use recreationally. Like,
what's your views on that then?
I don't know. I don't know because I've never been in that position. I've always done anything I do excessively. I go to the gym, I do it excessively. I want to, like. This is how my brain works, It's going to sound so mad and silly, but this is when I say it manifests in other areas I don't use. I get socks for Christmas. I like the feel of them. I like these socks. When I get some dough, I'm going to buy 1,000 pairs of socks. I'll wear a different pair every day. Why? That's my thinking.
So that's, this is you, though.
This is me. This is how my thinking is. I don't just need it. I need more of everything. I'm addicted to more. You show me a way to get money,
so
I will chase it. I will do everything.
Have they helped you, or I say they? So what you've learned, have you able to manage that?
100%. I mean, my ego was out of the roof. Everything I did, I've learned to put a lid on a lot of things. And just rein it in, and just like, it's not really that serious. Like, a lot of this outside stuff I used to chase, I don't chase them. Like, I like nice things, don't get me wrong, but they defined me before. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference now. It's like, if it happened, look, I'll talk about when we was going to do this at first, innit? Yeah. And remember, you said, let's do it on this day, and I was like, yo, let's do it tomorrow. And then he's like, oh, I can do it tonight. Then I message you again, oh, we can do it this day or whatever. And he said, oh, bro, look, there's no rush. Like, it will happen when it's meant to happen.
Yeah,
and I was
both
like,
ill.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I was ill. That's my illness.
Yeah,
you get me? It's
no,
like,
I mean, we both had a flu, didn't we?
Okay, yeah, but I'm ill.
No, I'm going to say you're ill.
No, I'm ill. I'll say it.
I've never said
Yeah, but no, alright, cool, sorry. I'll forgive
no,
me for putting that illness on you. Yeah, no, we was both ill. We had a cold and stuff. But I was eager to get it done, innit? And that's part of my illness as well. I want everything now. I need instant gratification for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You get me? And that's part of it. So when you said that to me, like, oh no, look, like, it will happen, we'll do it. But I had to do, that's like me before, that my old behaviour, like everything needs to happen now, need to get done. I'd prepare for everything. I'm thinking about tomorrow and the next day, the next day, the next day. Now, that's why when I said, oh yeah, thank you, I needed to hear that, because I will get stuck in that, like, and I want to do it. You know what I mean?
So what is that? Is that some sort of condition?
I don't know.
Because obviously there's labels for everything.
Yeah, and this is the thing.
ADD, ADHD, all of this stuff. There's labels for everything.
I'm waiting for not a diagnosis. What do you call it when you get like when they test you sort of? Like that thing, whatever. Yeah. I'm waiting to go there so they can do some sort of test for ADHD and autism as well.
Okay.
But because I've got kids that are autistic.
And the spectrum's big with autism as well.
Is bigger.
It's getting bigger as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But this is the thing, I don't want to put no numbers or letters after my name, get me for my mum's purposes, unless it's doctor. You get me? I don't want to put no extra letters on my name.
Because there is way, you know, like with what you're saying about you want to get it done, there is things where that is positive.
Yeah.
Because there's some people the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Who are, I'll get that done and never get it done.
Yeah.
So in some ways it's a good thing.
Yeah, but
if you put it energy in the right places,
no, you're right.
That works well for you.
Oh, you're right.
You're proactive.
That's the thing, and I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about that, because that has served me well in times. I can, like, even it manifests in work, and I will work. I'm a workaholic. Anything I do, I'll do excessively, and it has served me well in the sense of how determined I can be in certain things.
Yeah, I think you can make that work for you, man, personally.
Yeah, no, I can, but then you see what's funny, because everything's like a contradiction sometimes, because then there can be times when I procrastinate around something, like I will need to do something and I'll have the laptop there and I'll do everything else apart from that.
Okay.
And I'll wait till the last minute, then I'll fly for it. So that can happen at times, it's just like...
Yeah, I think you might get a lot out of when you, whatever you might, if you do get diagnosed or something, it will help you a lot. And, you know, start to make you feel more comfortable in your own skin. Because you'll get answers for why you are the way you are in certain areas. But yeah, man, it's interesting. It's interesting, but... So how are you feeling now, anyway?
I feel like I just had a therapy session, bro, but you know what? I'm good, man.
Yeah, so like, I mean more like in terms of like your journey. How's your journey, like where you're at now? Because you talk a lot like you're kind of wary of where you've been. So I don't feel like you're, you know, like 100%. It would never happen. You're careful, like you know, like your mind. You're not stupid, innit?
Yeah. I need to be vigilant, 100%.
Do you think it will always be like that? Do you think 5 years down the line you might be like, oh, that was a whole different person?
Well, I feel like I'm definitely sort of blossoming a bit more. I've heard, it's not my experience yet, that it gets easier around key times like Christmas, New Year's, birthdays. Those are very key things. Funerals, deaths. Those are key things. What are sort of high risk situations. You know what I mean? But they do get easier.
Do you have to stay out of places where you know it will be there?
Well, I wouldn't purposely put myself around it, and if it was around me, I would leave.
Could you? So you leave if you know it's around you? You've got to get out of there.
Yeah, get out.
You got to go.
I would go. Yeah, I would go. Because what reason have I got to be there?
Right. So let's just say now. Let's just say now. I just quickly turned the cameras off and racked a line up. Would you be like jaws off, mate?
Yeah. I'd be gone. Yeah, I'd be gone. I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, man. Get me? I wouldn't. You know what? Before, like you see, here's the thing as well, because it's like when you go somewhere like this, it's like drop all your friends out and do it. Like you got to change your social circle and all of that. So when I first went, and sorry if any of my friends see this, you know, but this is just reality. I have to drop people out, but when I first went to rehab, I didn't tell anyone because I'm superstitious.
Okay.
You get me?
Yeah.
I don't want no one to know. I don't want no one to put any energy on me. You know. So that's my thinking. Yeah. But it's not reality. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, so I didn't tell anyone, and I just stopped talking to people, and then I relapsed, and then I started talking to everyone, going round everyone again. And I thought to myself, what a piece of shit. If I'm honest,
well,
like, me, because you're not good for when you're not good for when I'm alright.
Yeah.
But when I'm not alright, you're alright. Do you know what I mean? When I can get something out.
So is that your opinion on them?
No, there's my opinion. It was more the way my behaviour is and my thinking. I had to take some accountability for myself. You get me? That it's me that's the problem, not them. But at the same time, they are a trigger for me, and I need to acknowledge that. And maybe I could have done things different and expressed that, because they don't know I'm in recovery. So if someone does something triggering around me or calls me and saying something triggering, they don't know I'm in recovery.
Exactly,
so you know what I mean? So the second time round, I just made it known. I said, look, I'm in recovery, so then people can respect my space and whatever. And if they choose not to, then I've got a decision to make. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I know I'm in a stronger place, but I definitely wouldn't go around anyone who uses that I used to use with. I'll speak to people on the phone and stuff. And it's difficult because some of them are close friends to me, but it is what it is. It has to be done. I've got to protect myself at all costs.
Of course. And since coming out publicly, and maybe some of those friends you might not have actually spoken to yet, have you then engaged with, have they engaged with you, like, oh, so you're sorting yourself out now, or
has
that happened?
Yeah, of course, and people ask questions and stuff, and it's all right. Is
everyone supporting you, like, really?
Yeah, everyone's very supportive so far, you know, and I just pray that the people that are sort of out there in the madness still carrying on do get it one day, because I really couldn't see it when I was in it.
Because even now, like, speaking to you about it, it's still, to me, like, we're not even pals like that. And it sounds mad me saying to you, like, are they supporting you now? Like, you know, like, you've done something crazy, or like, it's still, for me, it sounds mad saying it to you, because obviously to me, you're MAK 10.
Yeah, but you know that's the thing, and that's why I know that me saying stuff like this and being this open, it may help some people, and you know what? If I'm brutally honest, it helps me.
Does that come with age as well? Do you think?
It comes with.
Do you think you'd have been able to do this at, you know, late 20s?
I don't know, but I wouldn't have been able to do this without therapy or going rehab. Especially rehab and therapy, because there's a lot of talking and opening up. I wouldn't have been able to have this conversation with you. I wouldn't have been.
Does rehab include therapy? Because you know, to the common person, they won't even know what rehab.
Some people want to know what happens in rehab will be.
So you've gone in there. Day one, you've gone in there.
Yeah, group sessions where people sit around and it's just like talking, a lot of talking. You do meditation, acupuncture, you know, just a lot of stuff like that, and therapy. But see, the thing is, if someone said that to me before, I'd be like, what's that gonna do? But it does everything that I didn't.
Did the first time you went, was the therapy as effective? So I'm taking it with a different counsellor,
Yeah, most effective.
The first time was most effective?
The most effective, the very first time. And I tell you what, I can say this, but I don't know if it's going to happen, but I will say, I'm trying to get my therapist onto my podcast.
Wicked.
Because she was brilliant.
Have you tried therapy before that?
No.
Because for me, I think I've done therapy 3 times until it worked.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, where I had breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So you was quite lucky that your first encounter with therapy worked.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
Look, and this is what I'm saying there. I got myself into a place, and you're right there as well. Everyone's different. I know, because some people don't. Like some of my friends that I've met in recovery, some things work for them that didn't work for me, and worked for me that didn't work for them, and vice versa. So everyone found different things helpful, if that makes sense. But one thing I do know is that I had to be willing to do whatever it takes to sort myself out. There was no excuses, reservations or justifications of, oh, but I'll go after Christmas, I'll wait till Christmas, or just after the New Year, you know, like, I'm going to get clean in January, I'm going to do sober January. What about today? What about February? What about March? Because the way my understanding of it is, after January, it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away when February the 1st comes. It's still there.
Yeah, exactly.
And like when I say I've got to do this every day of my life, or the rest of my life, the rest of my life hasn't happened. So I've got to kind of, it's true, I've got to do it forever or whatever. Forever's not
present, isn't it?
Now. I've got to do it today. I've just got to be clean today.
Just touching upon it. Did you have to drink when you was doing it, or did you do it sober?
Yeah, so this is another good question as well, because alcohol is a substance to me, or a drug, let's say, because the minute I took one sip of alcohol, I'm calling it on.
It's triggered you, yeah.
It's triggered me, so I don't drink, don't smoke.
So zero now?
Nothing. No drug can go in my system, because it's going to set off my allergy, my obsession.
Yeah.
So that's the way it works, so that's why I say that. And you know, some people say, oh yeah, but I just bun herb, like, you know, but it's a gateway drug. That's what I started with, and then the next thing you know, it's progressing. And if it's changing the way you feel, or stopping you from doing anything, or you can't stop doing it, doesn't mean you're not an addict just because you smoke weed. Like,
what is your opinion on weed?
My personal opinion,
yeah.
It didn't agree with me. It sent me into psychosis real quick. Eventually, I stopped smoking weed first, 14 years ago. Yeah, and I've had first-hand experience with seeing how it affects people and to give them mental illness.
Did it do that to you?
It could have. It's definitely it sedated me, and made me feel paranoid. You'd be talking to me and I wouldn't hear you. It was just a different type of high that didn't agree with me, and I stopped it. Maybe I prefer things that lift me up instead of you know, a downer, you know.
I'm wondering why this is why we didn't know too much about MAK 10.
Yeah, because
did we just see the MAK 10? He came, done his set, and then went about this other life.
Yeah.
This is why we didn't really get to know MAK 10.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't talk because I couldn't look you in your eye, because I was embarrassed and ashamed, because I knew who I really was when I go home. But
there's loads of other people that have had that, you know that.
Yeah, but some people don't address it. I didn't address it. A lot of people might have done that, but how do you know it's not something that men don't speak open? And men don't speak openly. They're like, oh bro, I'm like, you know what I mean? You know what I would do? I'd call my mate 3 days after and say, guess what I was doing last night? I was moving mad, and we're laughing. These times, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm just picking out the one good hour I had and laughing about it. And really, it's not funny, because and the effect it's having on everyone around me is not. Because believe me, I'm taking what I can, doing what I can to get what I need, moving mad in the night, driving drunk. I'm doing all sorts of madness. Like, I don't care about anyone. Nothing can stop me. Do you know what I mean? That whole it's all about me, and I'm living in that, and I cannot see it. You get me? I couldn't see it. Like, to come out of it is just like, and you know what? It hurts me when I speak to people when they're still in it, and there's nothing. I try and I can say certain things and try, but I know that there's nothing I can do, because they have to do it for themselves. And some people may even approach me and they're stuck in it and they want to get help, but they still find it difficult to take
that must be a horrible place to be as well, when you want to get help.
Yeah.
But it's not 100% yet. Like,
it's not 100%.
You're not ready, really.
But I know for me, there's hope for that person. Because you just even reach out to me and say,
it's a step forward.
It's a step, because my first step wasn't the day I went to rehab. It was years before I tried to go and get help somewhere. And I walked in there, they started talking about it, and it just triggered me, and then I left and I called it on. And I was like, fuck that place. And I also walked in there and I was like, I'm not like them. Like, they're jacking up and doing all sorts of things, and I don't do that. But really, that person, that's just their choice. You get me? That's their choice of thing, and they may have started like me and ended up doing that.
Did you have to knock it out ever to sustain your habit?
What do you mean?
Allegedly, like, did you have to sell it to sustain it? Because how are you funding?
I've been doing loads of things, so I've been through periods. Like I said, you see me, yeah. I was involved in certain things, and I would have moments when I'd have, and my high would be really high in terms of financially, or really low. Yeah. And all in between, I'd be doing whatever, and it got me to such an embarrassing and dark place that my low was just, I couldn't deal with it anymore. You know, and even I'd get up, and then I'd end up back down there again. I just had enough. There was a time I got ill, I had blood clots in my lungs, lost all my weight.
Wow.
Yeah. And do you think it stopped me? It didn't stop me. They told me you will die. Like, this is a life-threatening thing, what you've got. You've got 2 large blood clots in your lungs. And I stopped for about a week and carried on. And that wasn't the thing that made me stop. But I stopped a few months after that. Like a month after. But I still carried on.
Because I was just thinking, if you're, let's just say you're deep within it, you're taking it.
Yeah.
And you're judging others, but you're selling it. Yeah, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying someone who's in this position, and then you're selling it, and then you're judging them people that you're selling it to, and then you're the one who's you're using them to fund your habit. That must be a crazy position.
But do you see what that's called as well? That's called projecting. Yeah, and that's a delusional state to be in as well. Because listen, it's like me, calling someone a Garen. Oh, that person, that he's bad. Look at him. But I'm doing the same thing. So I'm just putting you down to make myself feel better. Because you're doing the exact same thing.
Like that, though,
and people do that.
Yeah,
they do that.
And
they're the ones you need to watch. The one that's pointing the fingers, there's this thing, you point a finger, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. Do you know what I mean? It's like you, but really I'm me, 3. You get me? Like, come on. So, yeah, there's all of that. But yeah, and to go with what you're saying, I'm not going to go into the other side of the dealing thing, because I understand it's a bit of a contradiction. You get me? People need to make their thing, and my whole thing around that is changed. My thought process, seeing how people are suffering, has changed. But I'm not going to talk on that, because that's just this opens a can of worms. You get me? But you know, people have got to do what they've got to do. I've been there, and you know, each their own journey. So
moving forward, where is your energy going into? Is it going to be, because you've been active again as MAK 10?
Yeah.
Where are you putting your energy into? Nathaniel, MAK 10, where is it going?
Well, Nathaniel has to come first to deliver MAK 10. I want to chase. One thing I want to make clear: I'll never stop doing music or getting to where I believe I could be. And I'll tell you how my thought process has changed as well. Before, I used to want to be the best, and music's subjective. I can't ever be the best. Now I'm at peace with just being the best I can be, because the best I can be is dope. I know what I'm capable of, and I just need to reach my height of the best I can be, not the best, just the best version of me.
Wicked.
And that will be good enough.
Yeah, that's powerful.